Hi! Exactly to this day, 10 years ago, I posted a video that forever changed the course of my entire life. So let's start at the beginning. Let's rewind, as old school YouTube would say. Where did those videos go? It's 2015. I'm living with my parents and I'm a student. I'm doing film studies at a university. This is already after I got my bachelor's degree and I didn't really know what else to do. I remember I had this conversation with my dad where he was like, so like, where do you see yourself? Like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know, like, I'm just gonna continue because that's what people do. I mean, back then, I don't know if it's a thing nowadays, but back then in Poland, it was pretty common and pretty normal to get your master's done because it would increase your chances at getting a job. Like there was this mindset that if you have a master's, your CV is gonna look better. So I went on to do the master's in the same course, so that was also film studies. And I was stuck doing a course I was completely done with. The bachelor was fun, but with the master's, I was just so bored. I had to study things I wasn't interested in. There was no creativity involved, and also I didn't have a lot of classes, so I just spent a lot of time at home just like thinking what I should do with myself. Now, normally that's where I would go to work because that's what normal people do, but because I was spoiled and because I was living with my parents and they didn't really pressure me, that's a pigeon, I didn't really feel the need to, and I was thinking, what if I get more work at my studies? That's not gonna be good, so I just didn't go to work. So my main hobby at the time was writing a blog. It was mostly about historical sewing and fashion history. I started about 2012 when I first went to university, and I quickly found a group of like-minded people. We started meeting up, we started making historical costumes together, we would interact, exchange thoughts. It was honestly so much fun. If any one of you remembers the OG blog costuming era, shout out to y'all. That was great, wasn't it? Like, let's bring this back. Everyone's saying this, but we can't actually make people read blogs because they just don't want to. It was great. I managed to build a small following, but I didn't make any money because it was just a hobby and I didn't monetize the blog in any way, so it was just like for fun. So for the blog, when you wanted to post a video in a blog post, you would first have to upload it to YouTube and then embed the video in the blog post. So I had already uploaded some videos to my channel, but it was mostly like, oh, a Gibson girl hair tutorial that I then posted on my blog. It wasn't a whole channel. It was just like specifically for the blog uploads. So I was never a YouTuber per se. In fact, when me and my friend got invited to a Google event a couple of months later, where I met some actual like Polish YouTubers, I remember thinking to myself, wow, I could never do that. Like I could never have my livelihood depend on one single platform that's on the internet. That's just so risky. Like 10 years later, here we are. Anyway, we're back in October 2015. I'm lost. I'm bored out of my mind. And honestly, when I think about it, that was one of the lowest points of my life. I don't know why I felt this way. I was just like, I had no idea what I'm doing with myself and my life and like, what's the purpose of it all? So I have this idea for a video because at the time, the 100 years of videos were getting a lot of traction. People were loving it. I think it was The Cut that did most of them and began the whole trend. But also I think Glamour did something similar. Like at some point, a lot of people, a lot of brands started doing it. And I don't even remember why I thought of like showing the other side. You know, the working women, the historical background, etc. I guess I just thought like something was missing in those videos. So I did some research, then I patched up some costumes. Some were things that I just wore on a daily basis. Like I think there was a coat that I just wore as my coat. Some were things I made. I didn't buy anything for the video because I was broke, I didn't have any money. And I put my camera right there. I'm actually gonna show you. So this is the wall where it all happened. I had to take the frames down. The annoying thing was there was a bit of the bookshelf, this bit right here, like right the corner, that was showing and I had to like digitally remove it. So I just sat on the bed here. This was my background. I think I also may have had to remove the plug visually from the wall, but that was the space that I was working with. And then, you know, the light is coming from the right from the window. So that's all the lighting I used. I set up my camera in front of it. I don't even remember having a tripod, to be honest. This room is very dark, especially when it's rainy like today. And if you have a look at the original video, you can actually tell it's very grainy and the quality of the video is like not the best because the camera was also not the best. So like everything was very much makeshift and make do. Can you stop making sound? Thank you. So I filmed it all. It probably took like a maximum of an hour to film it. I remember my family was at the home at the time, and they would just look at me like going in and out the room in different outfits, and they would just like ignore me because it was like not new. And then I edited it probably within an hour as well. Half of it being erasing the damn bookshelf from the shot. I posted it to YouTube, then I posted the video to my blog. I added a short description and explanation of what I did and why I did it, and I went to bed. And I remember thinking that I think this video might go viral, but that was like more like an intuition. I didn't expect it to happen. I was just like, it has potential to go viral from what I have seen and observed. So the first couple of days, it was mostly my blog readers and my friends that watched the video and they enjoyed it. I genuinely cannot remember what sort of started the whole spiral, but I think maybe it was one media outlet at first that may have been someone I know that either told them or sent them the video. And then from that one media outlet, that was probably a Polish outlet, it started going to different bigger and bigger outlets, and then it got picked up by foreign media outlets. So it was this avalanche effect of media picking it up. I checked the analytics because I genuinely can't remember like how it went down, but it seems like most of it happened within a couple of days, like between the 3rd and 7th of November. That's when there was like a sudden spike of views, and that's when most of the articles happened as well. And there were a lot of them. I didn't know what was happening. So when something you made goes viral, it kind of feels like your brain is being pulled in 100 different directions at the same time. You literally get hundreds of emails, and it feels like if you don't reply to those emails now, you will lose those opportunities forever. You get dozens of DMs from your friends, and you know they mean well, but you're kind of overwhelmed by that. And then you get phone calls. TV shows want you to speak to them. Radio shows want you to speak to them. Politicians want to talk to you. Your social media accounts are getting hacked. Your email is getting hacked, and all of this is happening at the same time, and not within a span of like a couple of weeks or months. It's like now, this hour, this day, and you feel like you have to deal with it now, or everything will just explode and go down and you'll miss out. And then on top of that, because it's a YouTube video, you also get people that watch the video. So you get people that did not like it. You get people that think you've done something wrong. You get people that hate the way you look. You get people that disagree. You get people that accuse you of things that you've never even thought about. You get people that think you're annoying. Hundreds of them, and it keeps on coming. So you can't even process what just happened, what you've just read, what you've just replied to, because there's more and more of those that come in. I never imagined the anxiety that comes with that. I remember sitting at this exact desk, like right here, looking at my laptop and just feeling like closing it and just like forgetting about the whole thing, because you're at that point you just want it to end. I don't know what it is psychologically. I thought that you're just basking in sunshine and like sipping champagne as it's happening, and you're like, yeah, I made it. But no, when I was deep in like the craziest part of it, my only thought was I wanted to stop. I wish I could just stop it and never posted it. And I think that's probably what people that get famous suddenly experience, because once they finally get what they were trying to do or what they wished for, they wished it never happened. They wished they could take it back, and there's no going back because now people know you. So obviously I didn't go through that. People didn't recognize me, and it wasn't like me personally that was getting recognized, but it was still a part of me. It was something that I've done, and suddenly strangers were talking about it. It was so bizarre. Luckily with the internet, everything is pretty fast. So it only took days for it to quiet down. And I remember I spent a chunk of that craziest time. It just so happened that I was on the retreat with my friends in like the forest in the middle of nowhere. That was honestly the best thing that could have happened to me, because it was so far removed from all the craziness that I felt just like I can just like wait it out and then I'll see what happens. So the storm was over and I was left with a new reality, which was that nothing really changed. Like I was still a student. I still had to go to classes. I still didn't know what I was doing with my life. I still didn't really have a purpose. And I made like $200 within the first month of posting the video, which was the most money I've ever made. But but I didn't really feel like this YouTube thing was something that I was supposed to continue because that was never my intention. I never wanted to be a YouTuber. I never wanted to post videos. That was just for the blog anyway. And I felt like I'm nowhere near competent enough or well-spoken enough or, I don't know, confident enough to even do it. So one thing that bothered me was the accusations that people made in the comments. And I felt like they came from a place of not understanding that it's not a whole production team that made the video. It was just me personally in my bedroom. So I made a video, I think maybe a couple of months after the original video, where I was trying to address some of the comments and explain my decisions, like creative wise. But then I found it cringy and I took the video down because I just couldn't handle it. Like, people kept commenting, I had to reply to that. It was overwhelming again, and I wasn't a fan of how I presented myself, so I just took it down. I was like, you know what, I'm just not gonna touch it because it's like, I can't deal with it. And that was the end of my YouTube journey. For the time. I wanted to create more things, but I was just too insecure. And I felt like most of my newly found audience was foreign. They did not speak Polish, and I was not confident with my English. I felt like if I had to record videos again, I would do it in Polish, and then nobody would watch it because they wouldn't understand. One thing I remember at the time was I wanted to make videos, but I was so terrified of what people around me, like in my life, would say. I don't know why, but I remember, I mean, probably I was just insecure, but I remember thinking that they would just mock me, like, oh, they're gonna hate my accent, or oh, they're gonna make fun of me for making videos, or I don't even know where these thoughts came from, because people in my life were honestly super supportive always. So like, what was I thinking? But also, it's not an easy thing to put yourself out there, and if I could guarantee that no one I ever knew would see the videos, I would probably have done it sooner. But because I knew people from my life would also see what I'm putting out, I was like, you know what, I can't deal with this right now. At the same time, I was applying for studies abroad. I was finally done with my master's. I mean, not done, actually done, like done mentally. So I was like, I can't do this. I have to get out of this. And I don't remember if the video played into it. I think it must have in a way, because, you know, I did something creative. I did something that was more or less connected to filmmaking, and I was seeing the reactions from people to something that I've made. So it definitely must have been a factor, or it must have made an impact big enough for me to decide to go study film after. So I applied to study film in Scotland, and I was on a waiting list for a while, but then they finally accepted me. I got a student loan. I moved to Scotland. And I remember a couple of months maybe passing again. I didn't really do anything with the YouTube channel because like I was busy. I genuinely don't remember like what actually pushed me to do it. I think it may have been someone saying that, oh, it's cool that you have that audience. So whoever did that, if you remember having a conversation with me, shout out to you, my friend. Thank you. I genuinely don't remember why I decided to keep doing it, but I think it was just thinking it's a waste that I already have this audience that was willing to watch something that I make, but I'm not using that audience and I'm not giving out anything. And I was also a little bored again, because even though the course was quite intense, we also did have a lot of free time to work on our stuff, so I thought it would be a good practice with editing, I guess. Yeah, anyway, you might remember that the last time I spoke to was like exactly a year ago, or maybe a bit less. Yeah, so here we are today, and I thought maybe you would like to know what I think makes a very authentic vintage hairstyle. In some of my videos from the time, you can actually tell that I'm like lowering my voice because I don't want my roommates to hear me, which is so funny. I was also like, it was the tiniest room. I didn't really have floor space, so I couldn't do any sewing. So at the time, it was mostly like vintage related videos for a reason, because my room was really small. So my YouTube career at the time didn't even make enough money for a payout, because you needed $100 for a payout from what I remember. Months went by, I graduated, I came back to Poland, and I was officially jobless. Let's go. And back at my parents' place. So it kind of did feel like I had this massive adventure in Scotland, and then I came back to the same point where I was before, and I didn't know what to do with myself again. I applied to like the only 4 film related businesses in my town that I knew of. None of them replied to me. I don't think they were even looking for someone. So I was just a little defeated, and I was like, you know what I might do? I might just open a shop, I guess. So for some time I was working on an online shop where I would sell like costume related stuff and accessories. So I spent a couple of months working on that, and at the same time YouTube was sort of the side hustle for me, but it never really got anywhere. Isn't this cute? It was actually a hair clip.
What is...
Half a year went by and I'm really grateful that my parents just let me be a parasite for that long, because honestly it gave me the space to be really creative, to think about what I want to do and to just experiment. And it's so ridiculously privileged to be able to just do nothing for such a long time. And that's exactly when I thought, you know what I need in order to get this YouTube thing running? I need another viral video. And I knew that the format has worked before. And I knew that a Polish version of those 100 years of videos was never getting made because we don't ever get representation anywhere, despite being like one of the biggest European countries. So I just made it myself. And this time I did a lot more research. I did a lot more preparations. This time I bought stuff, especially for the video. And it just took a lot more work, a lot more planning. And even though this one was primarily for the Polish audience, I think this was the point that really got the channel running. Like at this point it was finally like an actual job. So gradually I got more and more views and I could finally make a living out of it. And I still feel like I accidentally became a YouTuber because I never intended to be one. And for years I had this imposter syndrome that there are so many people that dream of it and plan it meticulously, and for me it just felt like something that sort of happened and I just decided to roll with it. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it. It's not like I'm doing it because I have no other choice. I probably don't at this point, but it's not the reason. You know, it's given me more creative freedom than I ever thought I could have in any job ever. Like, it's crazy. The things I have done on this channel, if you had told me I would be sitting on a table smeared with peanut butter eventually, like in my 20s, what the hell is going on here? You know, it's given me interactions with people that I cherish to this day. It's given me the platform to express my emotions and my thoughts. It's given me actual friends. Like, I have met so many people through this hobby and this job, I guess. I just wouldn't say it's like a conscious career choice. So that's what makes it double weird. So 10 years in, here are some of my thoughts on being a YouTuber. It's such a strange job. Honestly, some days I think to myself, you're not even doing anything. Like, what is this? People are working hard and you're just sort of vibing. Like, what are you doing? But then there are days when it's a Sunday, it's like minutes to midnight and you're still editing and you're like, I have to get this done now. Or you have to take a break from dinner with friends because you just posted a video and you need to monitor the comments. Or I actually have been on a date where I had to ignore my date because my video was not posting and I had to sort it. It's very irregular, but it's also very rewarding. But it will also 100% feel like a not real job at times, especially when you're talking to other people and when you're explaining what you do. Like, I cannot count the number of times that someone asked me what I do for a living and I would be like, oh, you know, I would explain and they would go, nice. And what's your job? It's just difficult to comprehend for people, and I understand because it's like, it's weird, it's strange, it's not a normal job. Let's face it, it's not a normal job. One thing that comes with online presence is the hate. And I had some people ask me like, oh, how do you deal with the negative comments all the time? And I think I said once that, you know what, after 1,000, it doesn't really bother you. And I think that's true. Like, the more you get them, the more they just don't mean anything to you because you know they're coming and you don't care. And I've always been a kind of person that's not really insecure when it comes to like my looks or my behavior, so that didn't really bother me. What I actually personally have problem with, and I think it speaks to my character a lot, is constructive criticism. It's the comments where someone goes, I really love your videos, but this one, and then I'm like, no, stop. I can't, I'm not ready. What I didn't anticipate, because I did anticipate the hate, I heard a lot about people misbehaving online, and it's definitely a problem, and I think it's getting worse as well. But what I did not anticipate was the parasocial relationship that people will have with you, and it's something that you have no control over, but it's really scary because you're just existing in this internet space, and people will fantasize about you and will think you're friends or lovers and straight up harass you over it. So stalking is not cute, and I will report you to the police, and I have done so fuck off. My other thought is that YouTube has changed so much over the past decade. It used to be a very wholesome, creative place, at least for me. I feel like now it's very competitive. I mean, it also was competitive back then, but now it's very much about like pleasing the algorithm gods. And while that was also the case back when I started, I think we were all better at like cracking the algorithm and working the algorithm, and it was something more organic. Like we could basically see what's working for people and what's not. And now it just feels very tiring. I feel like YouTube and social media in general are very tiring, and I'm actually like, I feel more relaxed not on them, which is not good. And the people that try to keep it wholesome and creative, I feel like they're getting punished by the algorithm for it. So as I said, a couple of years back, I felt like I had the algorithm more or less figured out. I knew what's gonna do well, I knew what's gonna do bad, and I just kind of worked around it. Now it's just a lottery, and it's very discouraging because no one wants to put out work without any sort of gratification. It's another part of the job, of course, never knowing how your work is going to do. It can be appreciated, it can be loved, but it can also be disliked, it can be misinterpreted, or it can straight up be buried by the algorithm and no one will ever see it. And it's probably the only aspect of being a YouTuber that has ever made me consider quitting, because the whole thing of being a YouTuber is the audience. It may sound narcissistic, but that's what it is. Without the audience, there is no YouTube and there is no YouTubers. Like, what would we ever do if no one was watching us? That's not the point. So now, shout out to you, now that we're talking about you. Hi! Shout out to those who have been with me since the blog days. Y'all are the real ones. I still am in touch with a couple of creators that I have met back then, and I see them doing good, and I'm so excited for them. Shout out to those who have been here since the viral video, those who have been here for the whole decade, those who have been here since yesterday, and even those who have no idea who I am. You're the reason I'm doing this, and you're the reason why the past decade of my life, it's insane. I'm like 3 decades old. It's like 1/3 of my life. You made it. You made it into this exciting, crazy adventure. It's insane to think of. And you are also the reason why my introductions to people are so awkward now, because they're like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a YouTuber. Like, how does it sound? Come on. And honestly, we've been together through so much. We've been together through my Scottish flat videos. We've been together through my parents' flat. We've been together through lockdowns, and a couple of them at that. We've been through my neighboring country being at war and me going through a really bad time because of it. We've been through me buying a flat and renovating it, which was incredible. We've been through viral videos, we've been through the flops together. You're still here, I see you. And we've been through writing books, and now I have one coming in English, so I'm gonna plug it right here because that's a good opportunity. We've been through so much. I'm actually feeling so emotional right now, because sometimes you feel like you're just creating for the void, but then I see you in the comments, I interact with you, I see you, I see some of the names for years, like I know that you're coming back, I see you. I'm just so happy and honored to have gone through this decade with you. I'm gonna cry. I'm hormonal, by the way. Whew. I was supposed to end here, but now it's awkward, so I'm just gonna have to wait it out. Okay, I'm good now. And I'm hungry actually, so I'm gonna go and get some shopping, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!